Sisi amro kasa yi de Supreme Court etimi di amomo na ere abawiye ama yetimi abu etia OSP kisi ejaben one lawyer Paul mo sensema ere akotodwai na etifo nsem bi ere eboboba nsem bi ere epejapija ni muso nsem bi ere efrifri baby ere ebobobo nsem bi mu a etifo ano ere eya yedinyi pa na se open nsem mu chemu ni na so beti ase enkware a menkoba bia aha ordinary TV na benya mu nsem chemu ni na ere abesisia na diebe nkro na ewo lawyer Paul ene OSP kisi ejabin mom nim se na nsen de OSP kisi ejabin oni kenofori ata ho nsensemi ene nkofo bebre ho nsensem a chese nkofo bebre bash no etifo ano ade yi pa se de oni lawyer Paul ene a friend saying OSP kisi ejabin o makutima kopi mo parliament ema at the end of ruling no it me ere ebutia no yankoji nserimu ntwom nan re embresa ne ba de akena yidi na beto amoso me do brese onya bre ahwe me.
Know that the OSP has been fighting Charles Bisu, I don't know what for, about some videotape that Anas did. Of course, you know that Kisi Ajabin used to be lawyer for Anas, they are bosom friends, they are partners, etc., etc. And this is what the story says. The Supreme Court, and incidentally, the lawyer who argued this case successfully, the same lawyer on my seat now, so don't worry, there's a lot that we're going to hear tonight. The Supreme Court has overturned a High Court ruling that dismissed an application filed by the former secretary to the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, Charles Bisu, at the Human Rights Division of the High Court. Charles Bisu filed an application there that was dismissed. Let's see. The application was filed against the Office of the Special Prosecutor in relation to the handling of criminal complaints against him. The case stems from allegations of corruption and related offenses against Charles Bisu following the airing of an investigative documentary by journalist Nas. Subsequent to the airing of the documentary, the OSP declared Bisu a wanted person. In response, Bisu secured an injunction from the courts to prevent the OSP from enforcing the arrest. In June 2023, he filed a case at the Human Rights Court accusing the OSP of unlawfully securing the arrest warrant. The OSP, however, denied the existence of any such arrest warrant and argued that it did not require judicial authorization to arrest Bisu. The Kaneshie District Court, which Bisu claimed had issued the alleged warrant, also denied ever granting such an order. This position was supported by the Attorney General who represented the District Court. Attorney General here refers to Dominica Yini's outfit. Despite this, Bisu's legal team cited a public interview granted by the Special Prosecutor on Joy FM's news file as evidence of the alleged warrant. They argued that the judge should listen to the interview audio before making a determination. However, the judge dismissed the case without reviewing the audio, which to his lawyer was contrary to an earlier indication that it will be conceded. Bisu subsequently filed a judicial review application at the Supreme Court, seeking to quash the High Court's decision and prohibit the presiding judge from continuing to hear the case. According to Bisu's lawyers who are in the studio today, the Supreme Court has now directed the High Court to determine whether the arrest warrant was lawfully obtained. In response to the Supreme Court's ruling, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has indicated that it will now expect to cross-examine Bisu's legal team in court. Speaking to City News after the proceedings, Bisu's lawyer, Nane Bafo, emphasized the significance of the case in setting a precedent on the legal authority of the OSP to issue arrest warrants. Meanwhile, in a related development, the criminal court is expected to consider a plea agreement tomorrow between the OSP and Thomas Andiowusu, the second accused in the case titled The Republic versus Charles Bisu and another. So, the OSP went to Supreme Court and he was told that the conversation that was the guy's name, Samuel Dako, Sami Dako, he talks quite a bit. Sami Dako talks quite a bit. I mean, I don't know how much seasoned lawyer he is, and when he talks, I don't know whether his constitutional law is sound or not, but that's up to him. And he talks quite a bit, and he talks a whole lot. I mean, he was a journalist. I'm not sure the extent of distinction he got in journalism, but he went to study law. And he talks a lot. So he's the one who has created problem for Kisi Ajabi because he went on Joy FM to blab, and the blabbing has created a problem for Kisi Ajabi, who wanted to say that I didn't get any arrest warrant. And they said, but the guy was on Joy FM, said that there was an arrest warrant that was obtained. And then they played it and say, yes, you got an arrest warrant. The arrest warrant was not properly taken. The High Court should look at it. That's the kinds of things that the OSP does. But now we are moving straight into the OSP's big conversation. Do you have a video of him talking about Ken Oforiatta, and then we can move on? Now, this is the OSP here. This is Kisi Ajabi flying in this plane to go and interview President Mahama's brother abroad. He didn't even tell us that he was taking taxpayers' money to fly abroad to interview President Mahama's brother. Kisi Ajabin didn't tell us. He took taxpayers' money, your money, my money, 10 cedis, 5 cedis, 20 cedis, 6 cedis, the money that you pay, at the tour. When the Abaye people go and beat them in Makola, the money they collect, they give it to Kisi Ajabin to buy air tickets and fly to go and interview President Mahama's brother. He came back and said, there's no problem with the Airbus. We are happy with that, no problem. President Mahama is clean. But if you were able to do this for somebody who didn't hold public office, for somebody who didn't know how much money we were going to get from him, you were able to fly abroad to, and he didn't go alone. He went to military, police, and all those things he does. He travels with Ghanaian police, him in New York. You travel with him. I've been on the plane with him so many times. I've seen him in London. He said he won't shake my hand. I didn't mind him. You see him on the plane. You see plenty of soldiers around him. That's how he travels. So he takes your money, my money. He travels with himself, his security, blah, blah, blah. And they all travel. He goes with people who are not supposed to be staff of the OSP, who are staff of the OSP. But their time will come. Their time is coming. It will surely come. They are not staff of the OSP. They are on the OSP list. He travels with them. He pays taxpayers' money. Goes to interview President Mahama's brother. Well, how did I know? It is in his own report. It is in Kisi Ajabin's own report. It is there that he traveled to go and see President Mahama's brother. That is fine. No problem about it. But if you were able to... Were you there in person?
So,
or your team
my partner went to argue it. So it's basically this. 2023, if you recall, there was news out there. There was news all over the place that the special prosecutor had obtained an arrest warrant for Charles Bisu. I remember Joy News calling me, Event Mensa calling to interview me on it, and I was surprised because we had been engaging the OSP, through letters that they should give us a little time. Charles Bisu was going to appear at the OSP because there was a domestic emergency, for which reason the time proposed or the date proposed could not be responded to. And so we needed a little time. The OSP said no. The next thing, there was news outbreak all over the place. There were interviews by some persons at the OSP confirming that indeed an arrest warrant had been obtained. Subsequently, we went to court to obtain an injunction saying that it was unlawful even if it exists. Because obviously, if someone obtains an arrest warrant, it's difficult to know which court he obtained it from. But luckily for us, through the news outbreak, we had gotten to know, and then the interviews, that indeed there was some arrest warrant. The OSP followed that with a publication on its news website, like he had done for Kenneth Foriata, that Charles Bisu had been declared wanted. Mm-hmm. Oh. Following the grant of the injunction, to our surprise, the OSP comes to court and say that there is no arrest warrant. So then it had missed...
What injunction was granted?
An interim injunction to restrain the OSP from enforcing the arrest warrant.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm very happy. I'm going to interview...
By High Court.
It was granted by High Court because we produced evidence of media interactions by the OSP confirming the existence of the arrest warrant. The allies of the OSP in the media had run with it on news networks that it existed. In fact, some people even accused me for sounding disrespectful to the court because they thought I had said Charles Bisu will not respond to the arrest warrant by going to the OSP. When, in fact, all I was saying was that if you have obtained an arrest warrant, then enforce it. It's not for him to come to the OSP. My brother, subsequently, the OSP comes to court to say no arrest warrant exists. So if no arrest warrant existed, as a public office, you cannot deceive the public like that. If it didn't exist, how did the news, right, got carried throughout Ghana that there was an arrest warrant? In fact, even if it was not true, what did you do at the time to let people know that it didn't exist? Strangely, the special prosecutor himself appeared on Newsfile, where the host suggested to him that I even hear that there is an arrest warrant. He didn't deny it. Clearly, therefore, there was, people had been made to believe, because you know that you cannot, words of people who hold public office, they cannot be taken for granted. Their actions are very important. And it is it is on that basis that people repose confidence in them. And so when you have made everybody to believe, and now you are saying there's no arrest warrant, the burden was then on us to prove the existence of the warrant. So we put together all the evidence in the public domain, where the OSP, by its conduct, had made the whole of Ghana believe that there was an arrest warrant. At the court said